Hello and welcome to Second Take Movies, the podcast where we give movies a second look, a second chance, a second take, if you will. I'm your host, Preston Jenkinson, and with me today is our first repeat guest who's undressing himself for some reason.
Yeah, baby.
It's Jake Tweito, who made me watch probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen. But this time I made him watch what some have called probably the worst superhero movie in Green Lantern from 2011.
You know what? I was mad and I said, God, Preston's giving me payback for that bullcrap I made him watch. I watched this and said, it's not that bad. And think I might be insane.
It's especially amazing because I've got some facts after we've gone through the movie about all the production crap that went on.
Ooh.
It's amazing this movie made it out the door.
I am looking forward to it. I accidentally, purposefully did not go into too much detail.
Yeah.
Because Green Lantern's the weirdest. It's a cool hero, but how are you going to do it?
Apart from Wolverine and Daredevil, he's probably like my third favorite superhero.
His the backstory, I don't know, the Justice League actual cartoon.
Yeah.
Raddest guy ever. And then, I'm just waiting for Ryan Reynolds to redo Green Lantern.
Yeah,
like
I don't think he's going
to. He's definitely not, yeah. That check got cashed.
But we like to start these episodes with a good and a bad review. The first one's from the Hollywood Reporter. It serves up all the requisite elements and enough self-deprecating humor to suggest it doesn't take itself too seriously. And the worst review I could find was from the Miami Herald. The tone is all over the place, which makes the movie difficult to take neither seriously nor as a popcorn fluff.
I will do you one better.
Okay.
So 2011, reckless person in high school at this time here. I'll give you my review I submitted.
No, oh, wow. You submitted a review.
2011. Make sure my time's right. It's either in college, some school newspaper, it doesn't matter. My review was Green Lantern, more like green turd, 2 stars. A lot of acclaim. I'm fantastic.
Yeah, that was, oh wow, that was a...
But you know what? Again, I'll take it back. I will take that back after this watch. Maybe I'm older, more wise. I don't know.
I don't really remember the beginning of this movie, but...
The beginning of the movie is so good. Honestly, it is. So the movie starts, it's all CGI. It's showing the main villain, which is the lamest villain. Before we get into it, that's the worst villain. Ugh.
Also, apart from, I would say, Mark Strong and Ryan Reynolds' suits, the CGI is solid.
Yeah, I was shocked. I
was like, man, this is a lot of good stuff.
Great podcast, but my marriage is ending because I made my wife watch this. But actually, she said the same thing. She was like, this wasn't that bad.
It's been 10 years since I've seen it because I saw it when it came out. And I just went along with everybody and said, like, oh, yeah, this is terrible.
I don't remember. It's not the Mandela effect. There's another term that I'm not even going to look up. But, it's that, like, popular culture says this is bad. Everyone knows it's bad. I think it's wrong.
And that's the origin of this podcast.
Sold. All right, everyone. Thanks for coming to the podcast. We'll roll credits.
But Parallax, yes, we're introduced to our villain Parallax, who is, we find out later in the movie, he is one of the guardians that runs the Green Lantern planet, where all the Green Lanterns go to, and I guess they have meetings. I don't know. But he eventually makes it on to Abin Sur. That was his name. Abin Sur's ship, played by Tamira Morrison. I was like, that voice is... That's Tamira Morrison.
I was texting you last night, and I told you, like, I didn't realize that Taika Waititi was in this.
Yeah.
But I could say that for about 20 other people, and I went, oh my gosh, they're in this movie. I didn't know Mark Strong was in this movie.
Yeah.
Didn't realize it.
The cast is amazing.
It was... This movie should have been set up for so much success.
Yeah, it was.
You know what? Hey, the acting... The writing sometimes not the best, which is kind of weird. Like, you're coming off of the guy that wrote a lot of the James Bond huge successes early on, and man, you show up to that guy like I wish he had more presence in the movie because
his
CGI was actually pretty good.
I don't know if it was just CGI or if that was Tamir Morrison in a practical, like, purple makeup.
I tried to look that up, and I couldn't find anything. I was hoping Corridor Crew did something, or like
they need to look at this movie and react to the CGI or whatever.
But let's be serious. They'd only watch one thing. And
oh, yeah.
The background on you, those stupid blue eyes and the mat, like,
yeah,
that's all anyone knows.
For our audio listeners, which that's the only listeners we have, because I don't put these videos out.
Say this because I'm looking at it and I'm just dying laughing like I'm the 5th Green Lantern Corps person.
It's probably the image I'm going to use to promo on the Instagram or whatever, but there's like a huge Ryan Reynolds right behind my head with Michael Clark Duncan, rest in peace, and Mark Strong and Jeffrey Rush as
I did not realize that was him.
Tamanor Ray. What was his name?
Fish Bird Boy.
Yeah, he's got a name. I wrote it down.
Preston, I did not know Michael Clark Duncan had died, and you just really ruined my life.
Yeah, he died like years ago.
Maybe I did know that,
yeah,
and I thought that it was a joke.
Just left.
I gotta leave. Golly, man. Yeah.
And then it opens up when it cuts to, he gets attacked by Parallax and then he crashes onto Earth. And then, it cuts to Ryan Reynolds and basically like his introduction, his and Blake Lively's introduction just plays out like a rom-com. Like you could cut a promo. Ryan Reynolds is the bad boy pilot. She's the straight-laced pilot whose dad owns the testing facility or whatever.
He's so hardcore, but he's got daddy issues.
She wants to follow the rules and sell planes.
I'm a Ryan Reynolds fan. And I know that part of my enjoyment now is I've gotten to see him in more, like Deadpool's really laid down some stuff. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds, this is his personality. I don't think he was cast well for this. I don't see Green Lantern as a sarcastic.
See, I do, because the Hal Jordan version is very sarcastic in the comics, and a lot of the DC animated stuff. He's played by Nathan Fillion, so he's very sarcastic.
Yeah. I don't know. I think about Sinestro, who's, spoiler alert, the far end villain that could have happened.
His name is Sinister. Basically.
I think that's where I think about, like, this is a serious thing.
Yeah.
But it's, it's not. It's still lighthearted. It's kind of like Spider-Man for DC.
Yeah.
Almost. It's another thing. Like, Ryan Reynolds isn't playing a character. It's playing Ryan Reynolds. That's it. And I'm on board. I saw it and went, I thought Ryan Reynolds was a terrible actor in this. No, he's great. Fantastic.
He's pretty solid in pretty much everything he does.
Yeah.
I mean, because they just need Ryan Reynolds.
Not a second chance comment, but there's a rom-com he did with Sandra Bullock, The Proposal.
Yes.
I've watched that recently, then watched this, and it's like, yeah, this guy, chef's kiss.
Yeah.
He's got it. He's good.
We need somebody to talk fast and be snarky. Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, and be handsome.
Why are you talented and handsome, you jerk?
Yeah, but you know what? Not to skirt too far forward.
Uh-huh.
It was wild, man. The villain?
Yeah.
And I can't remember the actual guy's name.
It is Peter Sarsgaard, not to be confused with the Skarsgård children.
Not related?
No, he is a Sar, not a Scar.
Threw me off last night.
But he plays a villain a lot.
What a good actor. I mean, like Ant-Man, especially, like, hands down, fantastic guy. Like,
was he an Ant-Man?
Yeah, he's the Ant-Man villain.
No.
Yeah. He's the main like guy that replaces Hank Pym.
Not the bald guy.
Yeah, the bald guy. Wait, hold on.
I've got IMDb pulled up.
If I'm wrong, I'm really just gonna punch myself in the neck. Because I was so sure it's the same guy.
It's not.
Dang it. Just disregard everything I just said.
No, this is staying in.
Jeez. My credibility just took a dump.
Corey Stoll is that guy's name.
Corey. Well, I feel better because last night I went, is that the same guy?
No, definitely.
Like, there's no way. Well, yeah, there is no way. Not him, but
yeah. But
still sucks. Like, I don't know the comics or anything else, but like, what a lame character.
Well, see, in the comics, because I looked this up last night, Hector Hammond gets, he does have the big head and the wheelchair, which he ends up in this movie. But that comes from like some kind of meteorite that falls to Earth, and it like improves his intelligence. And I just don't understand. I think that, I have a note that says, why does the power of fear enlarge your head? I don't understand. I mean, he's able to read minds and stuff, but what does that have to do with fear?
Before that Joker pops in, you get the like ultimate I'm a fighter pilot scene.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm fighting drones. I'm going to go above and beyond. I mean, it's like Tom Cruise just said, hey, here's your pathway for any kind of like flight-based stuff, which I thought would pop up more in the movie. But I mean, he flies.
Yeah.
But
once.
Once. But I was on board. I thought my past thoughts of it was like, that's the lamest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Then I watched it last night and I said, you know what? This whole like drone fighting thing was pretty well done. Like if I didn't know this was Green Lantern, I'd be like, yeah, this was good. Which, again, the end of it all, I said, yeah, it's actually a good movie.
And during that whole test pilot scene, we get several flashbacks to his father, his dad, who was also a pilot for this company, die in an explosion. I think DC hates parents.
I think they do. I mean, one note I had, and I get it, this is back history, whatever, that wasn't needed.
No.
You didn't need that dad like it does not play out anywhere in this movie.
Yeah.
It happens at the beginning to like give you compassion to the guy. And I think that's that era, the superhero movies needed that. Maybe. But it was just like, yeah, this is garbage. Don't throw that in.
Because I think, DC had just come off, like their most recent thing was The Dark Knight, and they were like, oh, these solo movies, they work really well.
So let me tell you this. I've already said, hey, not a bad movie, but Dark Knight came out the same time as this. This is a terrible movie.
Like this was like 3 or 4 years after.
What? Okay.
Yeah. Dark Knight was 2008. That was just the most recent thing that DC had done was Dark Knight.
That's where my brain.
You got one of the best directors of the last 20 years to do it.
I mean,
so.
And also, I'm a Chris Nolan fanboy. Like, I'll watch wherever he goes. If it's confusing, crazy, I'm still going to be like, oh, there was purpose to it. But I could almost say this is the same guy that did this, though. Like, he did GoldenEye.
Yeah, I mean,
GoldenEye is
and Casino Royale, which is probably the best.
That's what freaks me out.
Bond movie.
I think that is the only Bond director that's crossed people.
Mm-hmm.
I think. So I'm like, man, you had all the options.
Yeah.
But
as I have later on, like Warner Brothers kind of took over the edit of the movie, and
yeah, I want to hear about that.
Yeah.
But like, so, and this is to me like, I really went, you know what, this movie's not that bad. Like, so he crashes the jet, the turmoil happens. He goes transported to the alien that shows up, calls Taika Waititi, which makes more sense. Didn't realize that the guy that directed it's from New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
So makes more sense. But I mean, what a phenomenal actor too. I did not, my wife Logan did not know Taika Waititi was him. He's talking English. Talking with an American
He talking
accent.
English.
He talks real good.
He talk real good. Talk like one of them American boys.
Yeah, he puts the lotion on the skin.
Yeah, Taika Waititi, he's a very talented dude. Yeah.
I mean, he can play Hitler and he can play that guy.
Yeah.
And I don't blink an eye, but
which I think they used the fact they were in this movie to promote that Free Guy movie that they're both in recently.
Have you seen that?
I hadn't seen that yet.
I loved it.
I heard it's very good.
It was it's the first movie I've seen in a year and a half.
Yeah.
So put that in effect. they also redid the cinema I go to, and it's got recliner seats where you hit a button and it slowly reclines out.
Yeah. They got that over here too. Yeah.
I know this isn't the green. Oh, yeah, you little fancy. Look up here in the
little bit
Northwest section. We're a bunch of rednecks, man. It was good. It was phenomenal. But the same thing as this. And I think watching Free Guy and then watching this, it's like, yeah, I just love Ryan Reynolds. Like, he's just a likable guy. Yeah. He's way too handsome, way too charismatic, but you're still like, yeah, it's just like me. And you watch it. You're like, yeah, this is cool.
Other than that Six Underground movie, he's doing pretty good.
Oh, God, I hadn't seen that. I almost watched that. Yeah, that's cool. You saved my soul then.
Yeah. That leads into my next note. He's turned his career around. He really has.
Yeah, and you know what? I think this was the start. I don't think this was a failure for him. I think this was a learning lesson. I mean, the failure for him was X-Men, you know, and he was Deadpool. But granted, Deadpool became the Deadpool today. So
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I think this really Ryan Reynolds' perspective of what kind of an actor he is. This was the movie that did it. And again, it was an enjoyable movie. And you know, the writing not the best. But man, the acting, I'm kind of sad. Like, this thing ended and I sat there and went, well, I have to watch the second one. And I went, oh, they never did one. No, like, Sinestro got set up. I know it's, way down the line here, but just sucked.
But all right. So
sorry.
No, we went off on a little tangent. It's fine.
Well, hey, welcome back to a podcast with me, because I'm going to drag you down too many things.
So they blame him for like, oh no, we're not gonna get the contract. He's like, I just showed you your limits of the machine and blah blah blah. I'm the best pilot on the planet. And he goes to his nephew's birthday party, which isn't very important. It's just more about the trauma he suffered from his dad dying. And
kid never shows up again.
Nah, the whole family never shows up. The whole family just goes missing. It was a very pointless scene, in my opinion. After he's leaving his nephew's birthday party, Green Bubble swallows him up because he's been chosen.
Surprise!
Pops him out on the coast or wherever this thing crashed at. And there's Abin Sur in the big purple guy in the ship. Looks like
Barney.
Or the it reminded me of that scene in the original Power Rangers movie where they explode Zordon's thing and he's laying in that thing.
That's not the Ooze movie, right?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Because Zordon's little cylinder gets destroyed and he's
Preston,
laying
if
there.
If you ever ask me to do a podcast for that one, I will delete your phone number. Because I'm going to go and tell you, that doesn't deserve a second chance.
It doesn't.
That was a Burger King Happy
Meal
movie.
When I saw it in second grade, though, it was the greatest thing on the planet.
It was killer, dude. I remember it, and I'm still never going to watch it again so I can hold on to that moment of happiness.
I think Richard and Terry Joe Jenkinson probably spent way too much money on Power Rangers toys, because there's buckets of them at my parents' house right now. Like,
I love knowing that my nephew has these things.
Oh yeah,
doesn't know what they are.
Yeah,
like I'm like, oh, that's a Power Ranger. That's the green one, and he's like, it's a robot man. Okay.
You know what's sad is I can still name half of the stuff that he brings up to me and tell him where it came from. All that stuff was just drilled into this part of the brain.
Dude, Pokemon is that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how my wife hadn't left me, because he's like, look at this, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's I can't think of it. Abstract. That's a pincher, or that's a scyther. And he's just like, how do you know this? And I'm like, yeah, they created that when I was around.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. No, so he goes to Barney.
Yeah.
And transports. Is that where he transports back to the homeworld of the Green Lantern Corps? No.
Not yet. No.
No. Hey, big mock of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Calls his friend to come pick him up in his Jeep.
Yeah.
There's helicopters. Like, this alien aircraft has been here all day.
Right. And he gets away somehow without being seen by the government.
How do they not, like, people watch the sky, man. Like, that's bonkers.
And how has this thing has been crashed and sitting there pretty much all day.
Yeah.
And no one's found it yet. no one on like that, because it's like a pier in the background, and no one has ventured to say, "Hey, what's that?"
Until Ryan Reynolds shows up, like Deus Ex Machina, for not like a good way, just like, okay, the guys are coming, and those helicopters were so close. They'd have seen a Jeep, they'd have just blown the thing up, man.
Yeah.
So yeah. Then they drive away with the lantern. And it's like, oh, power.
Yeah. And then Abensor tells him, you pledge the oath, and then you become the lantern. And he has no clue what that means. So he's back in his apartment. I think he wakes up back in his apartment, or
I think his buddy drops him off. But that sequence is funny. Like, I forgot about it. I thought he was like, I read something on the lantern, but no, he drops every mantra saying Ryan Reynolds. I mean, I feel like that wasn't written. I feel like that was him just
trying to come up with something.
Yeah.
And what gets me is he figures out that he needs to touch the ring to the lantern.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like projects something on his face, and then he starts saying the Green Lantern pledge, or the phrase or whatever. And I'm sitting there like, are you really pledging an oath if it's forcing you to?
That, yeah, I hit the same thing, and I kind of.
I know he's chosen, but
whenever he goes to Verde Planet, whatever the Green Lantern home is, and they talk about like all the memories from the ring are in your brain now.
Yeah,
I'm like, all right, yeah, I guess that pans out. I guess, but
yeah, because he starts naming off all these facts about the galaxy or whatever, but. If that thing makes you say the pledge,
you're a slave, man.
Yeah, that's not
the
cool.
Green Lantern owns you, and that's where I'm like, I don't think that's I don't know Hal Jordan's comic origin.
It's basic. That's basically how it goes.
Is
like,
it? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there were like 2 other Green Lanterns before him, which were fun facts supposed to be in this movie.
I thought so. I thought I remembered that, and I went, I think there's supposed to be a lot more people that popped up in this, but
a lot more characters in this movie. He gets taken, I guess. Does he fly there? I don't.
Well, he goes past the space station.
That's right. The thing just shoots him out there.
How do these guys are not? I don't know. Like, do they see green lights all the time at this point?
Guess.
And they don't freak out.
Oh, there goes another one.
Yeah. Well, it's a star. It's fun. But goes back to the home world.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, like, I think one of the most amazing things in this movie, watching it again, that was incredible. I wish this entire movie was on that planet. I wish you got to see so many more of these Green Lantern people and get their lore. I think that's one opportunity that got lost.
Yeah.
And that's probably like my most negative thing is, man, I wanted to understand what the Green Lantern Corps was. Corps?
Mm-hmm. The Green Lantern Corps.
Like,
yeah.
I just wanted to know, like, what is this?
Mm-hmm.
But
it's like the best way I can describe it is like a group of space cops that are responsible for a sector, and there's 3,000 sectors. So there's 3,000. How big is a sector that one Green Lantern has to police?
That's, again, me not knowing anything about it. I'm like, yeah, okay. So Hal Jordan, what are you responsible for then? Just Earth? Is that a sector? Or
right?
Where do you go? The Marvel world, I guess it's like the Nova Corps.
Yeah,
kinda.
That's pretty much what the Nova Corps is in Marvel, is like the equivalent of Green Lanterns.
Okay. But, man, I just wish they stayed there more. I mean, I felt like you had the training seminar. You kind of met Sinestro, not really.
Yeah.
And, again, there's so many good actors in this movie. I'm like, spend more time with them. But, I mean, I get it. You can't.
And I don't understand why Kilowog and Tomar Ray couldn't come and help with the parallax thing, just because they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't really believe in Ryan. If you don't believe in him and then the planet's about to be destroyed, doesn't a Green Lantern go help?
And I hope you tell me they had like budget cuts and that's why it didn't happen. No, bad writing, I guess.
It cost $200 million to make this movie. There was no budget cuts.
Jeez. Did not.
And that doesn't count marketing and all this other stuff they had to do, which I think it ended up being like $500 million. So,
Yeah, this is sounding worse and worse now.
Yeah.
But hey, that same boat. So like, I think right after that, Sinestro's telling the Guardians, like, hey, here's our person's Parallax.
Mm-hmm.
And they lay out who Parallax is, the fear-based abomination from their history.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't they seal him up better? Like,
yeah,
he can break out easy.
He was in like some, just like, I guess one of their constructs from one of their rings that he was encased in this. You should, like, those Guardian people should have built a better prison.
Yeah. Someone shows up and it's like breaking through with Legos, man.
Yeah.
But you send, like, I wrote the countdown and I'm too lazy to go to my notebook, but I think it's like 15 people go to fight Parallax with Sinestro. You have like 3,000 sectors.
Yeah.
I'll bet everyone go.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
because he's in a cloud form at this point.
Also, again, what a lame villain. Like,
yeah. Hector Hammond and him both. Like, ugh.
And you know what? I really felt not compassion, maybe compassion, but like, I didn't mind Hector. I said, you know what? I get this. Like, guy feels this way, whatever else. But they just murdered him. Like, nothing to him at all. And like, oh, he's not even a part of this anymore. There's just this big cloud that
he just plays Tim Robbins' smart, weird
Robbins
son.
Is in this movie.
He plays a U.S. senator. Fun fact, was only cast like a month into production.
Was going to ask you when he got cast, because I feel like they just were like, we're going to have this part. This is great. And then
there's several alternate. I'll get to that later, but there's several alternate castings for this movie.
I want to hear that. But so Green Lantern's sent out. They've decided he's not worthy because he's human.
He's a human.
But kind of funny, like typical. Yeah, he's human. He's not good enough. We're going to send him back. Why didn't they strip him of the ring then?
Yeah.
If you send him back, like, take that crap away, man.
Right. Like, it's y'all's ring. So, apparently, these rings are all knowing. So, he was chosen for a reason.
It's it's Arabian Nights all over again. Yeah. You know, it's the genie.
But since Hector Hammond's dad is a senator, he gets chosen to study the body of Abin Sur, and they just throw in Amanda Waller. That's not Amanda Waller.
It's not?
I mean, it's Amanda Waller, but it's not Amanda Waller. Like, you just threw a character in there and gave her Amanda Waller's name. At no point,
that was a waste. It was just like, why is this person here?
At no point has Amanda Waller ever been a doctor, to my knowledge.
Well, I'm glad you say that, because I saw it and went, this just seems wrong.
Like, Angela Bassett is good and everything, but y'all wasted talent and money on that role.
And there's a lot of parts where I think they just did that, man. They just wasted money.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't need Tim Robbins in this movie.
No.
Seriously. I mean, he did great, but
he's like in it for maybe 10 minutes.
And cost, a tenth of the production budget.
But while we're crapping on it, I will say that it brings up a very good point, which I've hated this style of mask my entire life that I've seen.
I don't get.
Because Blake Lively has a line. She's like, "Oh, that's you, Hal. I mean, I've seen your face. Like, I can pick you out. I can recognize you, even though I can't see your cheekbones."
Lone Rangerism.
Yeah.
Whenever that character was illustrated or defined on the radio.
Yeah.
This was it. Like,
I hate
this mask.
I hate it. I hate it.
Why would you do CGI for a mask like that? Make him wear it physically.
Well,
and don't. I get it.
We'll discover later the suit was supposed to be practical, enhanced with CGI.
Really?
Yes.
You're making me more angry.
Oh, I got, you're not the only one. I was like, because there's so much good in this movie that just gets ruined by one thing.
But
because his head looks so different compared to the rest of his body when he's in the suit.
I think this is where, positive side for this movie, I think this is where development houses and publishers, they definitely still weigh in way too much. They do too many changes that they think that it's good for marketing or whatever else. But I think this is where people started to slow down a little bit.
I think Ryan Reynolds himself has even said, like, they had a poster and an idea, but that was it.
Preston, can I give you like a guest interview real quick?
Sure.
Give me your opinion of this, especially 1 to 10. Don't give it a rookie score.
Me?
Yeah.
I would give it a 4.7.
4.7.
Okay. Well, wow, that's pretty low.
Wow.
You can go away.
My bar though is Marvel movies and the recent ones. So
we just finished. That's my wife, Logan. Sorry, I realize people can't see this.
Yeah.
We just finished watching Endgame, which that's the downside with this movie is it's kind of hard to stomach. That's the bar that it is now. But yeah, again, like she's leaving now, but like we finished this and it was like this wasn't a bad movie. Yeah. Sorry for the left ring there. But I mean, like, they got her. It's another little this movie suffers from this. Like there's so many subplots and sub characters that who cares?
Yeah.
They just kill her off. I mean, the other thing, Hector becomes the villain because he touches the alien.
And it gets into his bloodstream.
Preston, what did Ryan Reynolds do? He did the exact same thing. Why doesn't he have that too? Like, I don't know. Movie logic.
In the comic books, Parallax kind of it's like a entity that can take. It's not really a cloud, but it's an entity that can take over people. So they've got that aspect correct. And in the comics, what he does is he takes over Hal Jordan and uses the power of basically the Green Lantern, that power and tries to for evil and whatnot. And
thank you. I know a little bit more, I guess, than I give myself credit for. But when Hector put on the ring, I went, oh shoot, they're doing that. Like Parallax has the Green Lantern power. He doesn't necessarily take over Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
But he has that power. But again, it's just they just melted his ashes. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it was just unceremonious. Just he's done.
And again, maybe that is the origin of the comics. So I shouldn't knock it, but what a stereotypical, this guy's got his dad works in the government. He's a scientist. He's got issues. I don't know. I also felt for him too, but
we've got this secondary villain that we don't know what to do with. So let's just give him a jealousy arc through the movie because he apparently grew up with the two of them.
I'll go ahead and tell you right now, Hector Hammond grabbing that champagne from the random guy at the event.
Yeah.
I forgot about that scene and I've watched it 5 times today. Just like the guts of I wanted to be like, if I did this at a event that I'm doing, what would someone do? They'd punch me.
Yeah. And because that guy's just okay, I can go back to my conversation because I'm an extra in this movie.
The best thing, the extra gives Blake Lively the up and down 100%. And I feel like, all right, that extra said, oh yeah, I'm fine. You stole this. She's worth it, man.
I'm on camera for a little bit. I mean, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can have my drink. See ya.
But Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, they found love on this movie.
This is the movie they met, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean,
I don't know. He had just come off a divorce from Scarlett Johansson, and
man, I forgot.
Poor guy. Poor Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. He's so handsome that all these fine women are all
Yeah. Even though she was like 24, like Blake Lively was like 24 at the time, and I think he was 35. Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
She's 34 now, and he's 40 something. So it's fine.
But that kind of funny. It's that goes back the next segment of that, and I already said it some. They go to the World Fair seminar for whatever that company's name is. They're going to show off their new tech.
Ferris Air.
I know why I forgot it. It's just too forgettable. But
her name is Carol Ferris, and her dad owns the thing.
Still so rad. That whole segment. Completely forgot about the perk of the Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Is whatever you can think you make.
Yeah.
So you put a helicopter on a Hot Wheels car track. Dude, it was so, I was like, man, this is so good.
And that brings me back to all the creatures on the planet when he goes to visit the Green Lantern Corps. Like,
so good.
Everything looked amazing apart from his suit.
What's Sinestro, Mark Strong? How much of that's practical? Do you know?
His face, his head and his face were all makeup.
Okay. Well, still incredible.
There's some behind the scenes
makeup
footage of them in their suits, and it's just those gray motion capture suits with a bunch of lights on them.
I was all on board with that. But again, like you said, the suits sucked.
Yeah. Your main hero should have at least a practical suit in a superhero movie. Some kind of way.
Yeah. And it's not that hard, man.
Vision is basically a robot in the Marvel movies, and
practical.
Most of him is practical.
I mean, Ryan Reynolds had to put on a wetsuit. That's it. Why would you not?
And
I don't know.
When he signed on to do this, that's what he was promised, was a practical suit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, that sucks. Like,
and then
Ryan Reynolds got handed some crack pipes of
one of those production things. Well, I mean, if you're like, you're the next Hollywood guy coming up, and you get offered this right at the beginning of the superhero boom, you're like, yeah,
gotta take it.
Yeah.
So
he was not the director's first choice at all, by the way.
Who was his first choice?
Martin
Black.
When Martin Campbell was hired after the first director was fired, which we'll get into, he was dead set on Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper was around in 2011?
Apparently. He had just done The Hangover.
God, yeah, that's right. Never mind. You're dead on.
Again, that information, I did not have to look that up, ladies and gentlemen. That information was tucked away somewhere back in there.
Tell me about, also, hey, Preston, if you ever tell me, hey, man, second chance here, Hangover 2 or 3, don't call me.
Yeah, I don't. There's several movies where I'm like, I can't. Like, even I wouldn't be able to sit there and watch it for this.
No. But here's where this movie grays out for me. So that big event happens, and I legit spaced out so hard. Nothing real happens until Parallax comes to Earth. Like he goes and pleads his case, I know, but that's where I was like, man, this writing's really bad because, there's nothing happening. You're getting some background, some, nothing important. Nothing matters.
I kind of quit watching after Ryan Reynolds tried to convince them to, come help save the Earth because he said, oh, y'all are afraid. And they're like, how dare you call us afraid? And Sinestro almost used the power of fear.
You know what it means to be human? We say we're just human. It means to be afraid. I don't think that's what that means, but
that's not
sure.
What that means, yeah. Ryan.
But I mean, that's where it goes. He comes back.
Yeah.
And Parallax comes and murders Hector.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, what a loss. Like,
why have him in the movie?
The guy that played Hector was a decent actor.
He was really good. He plays the villain in the Magnificent Seven reboot, and he's really good.
That's where
yeah.
That's where I know him from. No, he plays an Ant-Man. You're wrong. I'm so embarrassed. But I mean, like, wild. Just this guy. I mean, I don't know. I feel like in movies, I took one film class. It was at a tech school, nicknamed Harvard on the Hill. Clearly, it's not Harvard, but I don't know. Like when you have a human that's your villain, you connect. Yeah. Like you killed your connection to the villain. And the villain has nothing. So it's like, who cares about this guy? Blow him up. We don't care. Like Thanos, I don't know. Like there's some parts where you're like, yeah, what he's doing. He tries to be good in his own mind, but I think can't connect to a cloud.
I think a better rewrite for this movie is Sinestro intentionally releases Parallax.
Yeah.
And then you have Sinestro be your physical manifestation of a villain.
Preston, you got Mark Strong in your movie, and you could have made him the villain earlier.
Yeah.
Why would you not do that?
But instead, spoiler alert, there's a post-credit scene where he builds the fear ring and actually becomes Sinestro from the comics because they thought they were getting a sequel.
Got so sad watching that, knowing
I was like,
there was one. And I went, I want one now. Yeah. Now I want one. Like, let me see that.
If they do a Green Lantern movie, it needs to be Sinestro.
I mean, I know J.J. Abrams, right, has the HBO series or film. I don't know what it is. But I just feel like it should continue. Honestly, I feel like they should get Ryan Reynolds back.
Yeah, I think the Greg Berlanti, which now that we're at the end of the movie, we'll just close out the movie. Ryan Reynolds, Hal Jordan takes it into the sky, throws it into the sun, just like Superman has done in almost
and his
every
dad, his dead dad pilots the movies. I mean, his dead dad pilots the planes that he invents.
Yeah, is that? Yeah. Oh yeah. He keeps himself from flying into the sun and creates.
And Sinestro saves them.
Yeah, he creates two jets to.
Again, Preston. Where was Sinestro? Was he just watching this from afar? Like,
apparently.
Picking his nose, going like, I'll see all this out. Like, the whole Green Lantern Corp is me.
Let's see what this human's going to do.
If he kills them, that's great. And if he doesn't, he'll be weakened and I'll fix it.
Apparently, we don't care about the Earth anyway, so.
Well, would you, man? We're scumbags.
Yeah. I mean, if aliens did touch down, they'd be like, you know what? This was...
And on this podcast of Humanity is Terrible, this is your host, Jake, and got my... I'm so curious of what you've got about like pre-production, and I didn't look anything up, and I'm so happy you did. This was the first... One thing I know.
Okay.
Do you know who Robert Smigel is?
Yes.
Robert Smigel, at this time, Conan O'Brien, favorite talk show host forever. He's the head writer for the show. Wrote a Green Lantern movie starring Jack Black.
That is actually the second note that I have on it. He was supposed to be like this fat loser, and there was supposed to be fart jokes, and
thank goodness that didn't. Like, this would not have been on a podcast.
Yeah.
And I love Robert Smigel, but
all right, now that we've finished the movie and we're transitioning, what do you rate the movie out of 10?
I don't remember your scale.
It's 10? Just out of 10.
7.1.
Ooh.
C. No, wait. 6.8. Downstairs, there's been a moan. I said that number, and she went, "Whoa, a little high," you know. I love watching Barstool Sports pizza reviews.
Yeah.
So we are dead set on that, but a D. This movie gets a D.
Okay.
7.8.
I could give it a 5.
6.8 has been yelled downstairs.
6.8. Okay.
Acting does it. Like, the acting, supreme. Writing's awful. Animation, at points.
Yeah.
Butthole awful. But
yeah.
People are trying their hardest, you know?
So, Jake gives it a D.
Give it an F.
Short-lived third co-host or third guest of this podcast, Logan, gives it a 6.8. I give it a 5. So
can we go ahead and like kill her off this podcast actually, because I don't like getting the downstairs commentary here. So Logan's dead. She's not a part of this anymore.
Well, I need more women on the podcast because it's been a bunch of dudes. So production notes about said Green Lantern movie. The screenplay was not finished when they started shooting the movie.
So, like, the whole story wasn't done?
Nope.
At all?
Nope.
Look at Iron Man.
Yep.
I mean, nothing was done.
Well, I mean, they pretty much,
ad-libbed.
Yeah. When everyone likes to work with each other, you can get a movie done and have it be pretty successul. But
no one got along on this, did they?
Not the case with this movie. Well, except for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
Whoa! Oh, tell me more. That's the one thing I grabbed. Like, I didn't feel like anyone liked each other in this movie.
Yeah.
You watch Iron Man, I knew there wasn't a script.
Well, now the actors probably got along, but the big one was Ryan Reynolds and Martin Campbell argued with each other pretty much every day, is what I read.
But That makes sense. I mean, look at Martin Campbell's history. Ryan Reynolds is
they're polar opposite humans.
Yeah. I mean, he's a goofy guy.
Yeah.
A likable, goofy guy. Then you got this serious actor who did like all the 90s action hits. Pretty much.
Because I think Ryan Reynolds is kind of like an improv guy.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
Martin Campbell wasn't having it.
He seems like I'm trying to blank on who, but like, I think Mark Campbell's the do this scene until you hit the script perfect. And Ryan Reynolds we'll do, 5,000 takes of different lines in the scene, which, I don't know, pans out. But I think that's modern film stuff now. 10 years later, this movie's 10 years old.
Yep. Second one is the Jack Black thing we talked about. My third one, all the producers from the CW shows wrote this movie.
Isn't that weird?
And Greg Berlanti was he's the guy that basically orchestrated the whole CW TV shows. He was the original director of this movie, like director, writer of this movie.
Yeah.
But he says he got fired, but there's reports that said that he left. Apparently he stepped down when the script leaked online, and it was supposed to have a cameo from Superman, and other Green Lanterns, including Guy Gardner and Alan Scott. Alan Scott was the original from like the golden age of comics.
Much like Sky Captain and the World Tomorrow. Incredible movie. All about the golden age. And for the audio listeners, Preston is stabbing himself in the head thinking about watching.
I don't ever want to think about that movie again.
It's fine. Now, my fascination died, but
yeah.
That's interesting though.
Yeah.
I think about you saying Superman was supposed to show up.
Mm-hmm.
I think the greatest Zack Snyder move in the world would have been Ryan Reynolds and Justice League showing up.
And that's what was supposed to happen because George Miller was doing a Justice League Mortal movie at the time. Like, he was writing it.
Oh, my gosh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Armie Hammer was supposed to be Batman, which, thank God that didn't happen.
Doesn't he eat people?
Look.
Another podcast. Hey, on tomorrow's podcast of people eating people, Armie Hammer. Sorry.
Well, anyway. Yeah.
This is welcome to the worst part about having me on this because my brain just goes, I think this, I'm going to say it.
I can't remember who was supposed to be Superman in that movie. But if my memory serves me correct, Ryan Reynolds was supposed to cross over into that movie.
I think what this suffers from is the lack of other characters. Not Green Lantern Corps people. Like, that'd have been great to see more, but no one knows them.
Mm-hmm.
Give it the Justice League that it is now,
and even when
it'd panned out.
When DC did the Justice League recently, like even if it was supposed to be the original Zack Snyder version that we ended up getting, it was too soon to do that.
Do you remember the trailers for that where Alfred has the green light on him?
Yeah.
I really thought Ryan Reynolds was going to show up.
Supposed to be like the jacket of Hal Jordan, like that leather jacket. There was supposed to be like, I don't know if you've seen the Snyder cut on HBO Max.
Ish. The ratio didn't match with me, but I've seen a lot.
But Martian Manhunter shows up to Bruce Wayne at the end of that movie.
Yes.
That was supposed to be Kilowog and Tomare in Zack Snyder's version of Green Lantern saying, hey, we're here to help if you need us. Apparently Earth needs a Green Lantern.
There's gotta be, do you know how fast the CGI company had to get this thing cranked out?
I didn't look that part up, but
I feel like DC has a notorious history. This was the start of, you have a month to finish this. And it doesn't matter how many people you
Marvel's the same way. I mean, if you look at Black Panther, I think they even had the artist that actually worked on that final scene on Corridor Digital. Yeah, and he said, we got that like
fight scene sucked.
He's like, we were waiting on that thing, and it was like 6 weeks before the movie was supposed to come out, and they were working on that scene. He's like, we did what we could.
Nerdy comment. I'm probably going to show how old we are.
Yeah.
How weird is that? 6 weeks before it came out.
Yeah.
Like the movies that like I grew up watching, they were done 4 months in advance.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like on film. I mean, I know the digital film stuff, but
I mean, there's still stuff shot on film today.
So yeah, I mean, Chris Nolan, I mean everything.
Yeah,
IMAX all the way and stuff. But
yeah, Bradley Cooper was Martin Campbell's first choice, but when Mark Campbell was hired, Warner Brothers just went ahead and hired Ryan Reynolds without consulting Martin Campbell.
And you know what? I think that I could have seen him doing this though.
Yeah,
I'd still like to see him in a superhero role of some sort. I don't care if he's a superhero, but a person in it.
Yeah,
I think he's a fantastic actor.
Yeah, he needs him and Ryan Gosling need superhero roles in my opinion.
Oh baby, Ryan Gosling.
The baby goose. He's done musicals. He's done a sci-fi. He's done, a detective movie with. He needs a superhero movie.
I get it. What you're after is every person that doesn't age. Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd. Ryan Gosling, like they age backwards.
Yeah.
Be a hero because it just works.
And I think Marvel has like just a standing appointment every year with Keanu Reeves about doing something.
I don't know if you caught the Twitter conversation with Marvel
I
EU.
did.
I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, Ghost Rider matches pretty well.
It was like
Keanu.
the Marvel UK account tweeted out happy birthday to
and deleted
Keanu.
Dude, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Do you hate this movie because Ryan Reynolds has made fun of it so much?
I wouldn't even say I hate it. I just never went back to it.
I watched this in the theaters twice.
Yeah.
I think this is my third. I watched it once in a hotel at like 3 a.m. So that doesn't count. I mean, I was in Vegas. Yeah. I was in Vegas for a work thing, and I was not sleeping at the time, and I had to get work done. Doesn't count. So my actual rewatch of this, it's not a bad movie.
No, it's not.
It does not deserve the hate. The suit does.
The story 100%. And the suit do. But other than that, it's a pretty good movie.
Yeah, such good actors. Actors as an actor and actresses, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, they like to be called actors now, too. So
okay, well, I'm not PC. I'm
terrible.
Here goes your podcast stuff going downhill because of what I'm saying.
Who cares? Jeffrey Rush was almost Sinestro. He didn't join the cast as Tomar-Ray until reshoots.
Really?
Yes.
You know what? Again, I'm not the most... I like Green Lantern. I'm not the best in his background.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Strong, phenomenal. Look,
yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at your background going, God, they should have done
that. Is if you look up, if you're at home, look up Sinestro and then look up Martin Strong as Sinestro. They nailed it.
It's kind of like what Robert Downey Jr. has done now.
Yeah.
Where the comics, they look like Robert Downey Jr., except, hey, they didn't create this after this. That's it. They nailed it. I mean...
You know why Samuel L. Jackson is Nick Fury now?
He made a deal, didn't he?
Well, because he's an avid reader of comic books. He loves comic books. So he picked up the latest, Nick Fury comic one day and was like, that's me. and then because he's Samuel Jackson, he calls Marvel and says, what the hell? And they were like, what? Fun fact, Samuel, we're fixing to do some movies and we would like to talk to you about, blah, blah, blah. And that's how he became Nick Fury.
Good casting.
Yeah.
So,
I think they were scared to ask him is what it was, but
I would be terrified. The famous, the Atlanta news guy that says I liked you in those Geico commercials or whatever else in the Super Bowl. And he's like, that wasn't me.
That wasn't me. That was Lawrence Fishburne.
Nothing. Hey, Lawrence Fishburne was not in the Matrix trilogy. I mean, Matrix 4, by the way.
That's because he's being replaced by Yahya Abdul-Mateen.
Morpheus. That's all I got to say.
He's supposed to be the young version of, the reincarnated version of Morpheus. But anyway.
I'll save on that.
Yeah. Well, Jake is coming back. We're going to do the Matrix trilogy at the end of the year because the new movie's coming out.
I'm more angry with you about that than this. Like, I'm pumped to watch the first one again.
Yeah, I am too.
The third commentator down here has not seen the last movie.
Ooh.
She
should be on that episode then. That'd be fun.
I may have to drag her in because the second one ended and she just said, What is this?
What is that?
What is this? But Green Lantern.
Yep. The last note I have is Greg Berlanti is doing a Green Lantern show for HBO Max. So there's going to be a Green Lantern Corps show on HBO Max.
Is that guy linked with Abrams? Or my boy JJ?
I think this was part of that big production deal that JJ Abrams signed with HBO and Warner Brothers. So he's probably just like, I'm producing it, but I want Greg Berlanti to run it.
All I'll say is there's probably some hope there.
Yeah.
I mean, JJ Abrams is, I hate to be that guy, but like, if he does something, there's some passion in it.
Yeah.
There's some legitimateness. And
as corny as those CW shows are, which I'm a big fan of The Flash, it is like...
I haven't watched any.
It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I loved Green Arrow and Flash. That's the only two I ever liked. That guy knows his DC comics. Like, he takes stuff out of the comics and, like, deep cut stuff and put them on TV.
That's I never watched them, but I have so many friends, and I've read enough that have been like, these are very good makes. Gotham, maybe not so much.
I like that show. I mean,
but I like that. I watched it and I was like, I'm down. But
I never watched it when it was on TV, but then it came on Netflix, and I was like, well, let's just see. And I got sucked in, just like I did with Manifest. I got sucked in.
I'm just waiting to hear a California.
Here we come. All right.
You're gonna get sued for that beautiful Phantom Planet cover.
Who cares? Go for it, please. Take down my tiny little podcast that gets like 20 listens or whatever. Well, that's a good note to end on. Jake, thanks for coming on again.
Anytime. I am not mad at you. Again, this was a very pleasant second watch for me. Like,
how does it feel to be the first repeat guest on Second Take Movies?
Terrible, because this was my podcast the first time, and I took over hosting duty and gave you co-host, and I just really let it loose on this one and said, I stepped down.
I'll tell you what, I'll send you the file and you can edit it and upload it. How about that?
Yeah, I've done this before, and
all right,
go up raw.
Well, next week is Blade, a Wesley Snipes classic.
That's a pretty solid one.
It's a good one.
And you're just on a Ryan Reynolds kick.
Yeah. Well,
he's in the second one.
We're just doing the first movie, not the second and third movie. Not yet.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Not yet. Get the Ryan Reynolds fix in.
Jake, thanks for coming on. He's going to be on at the end of the year, like I said. I'm going to try to hit when the new Matrix movie comes out. We're gonna
after I watch all those, I'm gonna be in the Matrix. I'm gonna hack myself and just blue pill out of this.
All right. Well, I will see you next week, and Jake will see you at another time. Thanks for listening to Second Take Movies. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and if you have any suggestions, send it to secondtakemoviespod@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.